get a copy of this and purchase this. You see what I'm saying? Because I know when things pans out, when stuff pan out with special, because I do research. So I'm looking at this stuff and all, you know, and it panned out, and there's a guy down in Atlanta, a brother, an Anubis type character. His name is Brother Ade Bay, a Moorish brother. Took this back to Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was a Moorish group up there, had their own law firm. And they actually was using this thing to function. It was actually functioning from this. And I just got it in November. I said, well, here, go take it for a week. Because he'd come home every week. He said, man, hell, I said, take it 2 weeks. And he was actually functioning from it. You know what I'm saying? Because his job was to basically look behind the scene and keep people out of a certain amount of trouble based on the laws and based on, you know, how things are going. And so the point about it is, that's the type of thing we need to deal with at this particular time. We're supposed to be a group of priests and priestess. And I'm going to get into this tonight, also on this particular level, that in the book of Enoch, the Ethiopian book of Enoch, by R.H. Charles, it tells you that the elect, they said that we're looking for something miraculous going to come out the sky and save us from the white man or save us from the tyrannical forces that rule the planet. But in the Ethiopian book of Enoch, which subsequently, like Jeremiah said, they didn't dare add this to the Old Testament because it would give up, it was too remote in origin. Number one, it would give up something that's so arcane that, number one, they wouldn't dare say it came from Ethiopia or even tell people about it. So it gives you an Ethiopian origin of Hebrewism. You see what I'm saying? Coming from that whole Akhenaten thing. That's a whole nother thing, you know what I'm saying? And Queen T. And we call it Atanism. You see what I'm saying? And so in the book it says that the ones who are going to get chastised, these particular people, the tyrannical forces that rule the earth, and let's not be fooled about this. The people who run this world is still white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? They said that they will be handed over to the elect. That's not talking about some bug-eyed people coming from Mars. They're talking about the aliens that got here millions of years ago. That's you. Now the elect are the conscious black people, you see what I'm saying, that woke up and thinking you're doing this particular job. You're actually doing this job because you are the ones that's returning. You see, the return of the great old ones, the return of these angelic figures, you are the ones that's returning. You see what I'm saying? You know, so I lost my train of thought, but anyway, this is very important. The Ethiopian book of Enoch talks about the return of these particular ones. You are the priesthood. So you're looking for somebody outside of your own self. You see what I'm saying? And you don't understand that you're supposed to be learning this thing to take the role and the responsibility. The brother doing this type of work is great, and this is the type of work we all need to be doing. And it can be on some type of level. You see what I'm saying? The thing about it is you have to look and see. A lot of people say they got callings, but it's always in the realm of what the white man see of the greater society. Right. And they have already been given what they're supposed to do, but because it was not popular, or it wasn't the criteria of the European paradigm, you see what I'm saying? They done put it away a long time ago, but there was something that we needed to do. And because it wasn't something, it was something that wasn't self-grandizement or something that other people want you to do, we just cast it aside. It can be some simple stuff. You know, some simplistic things and stuff, you know. Anywhere from art, you know what I'm saying? I mean, all kind of, even down to cooking. You know what I'm saying? I just came back from, I was in St. Louis last week, and there was a woman there, man. This woman she was a woman, she made vegetarian meals, but she had it down to the T, whereas you couldn't tell it. You had to think hard to even think, was this gluten, or was this tofu, or whatever. It just tasted like the same old soul food. And it was all vegetarian. You see what I'm saying? So that was her spiritual calling. You see what, and things like that. So we all have these types of talents and things what we need to do. So we want you to take advantage of the brother that's bringing this particular information. I'm going to spread this around to some other scholars and other people that might be interested in all this type of aspect. But this is the way the intelligentsia is supposed to go, supposed to come about. It's not supposed to be just one way to do these things. You see, one way to do these things. Let me give you another example of what's going on, because somehow we have this type of one-track mind. We know that the Egyptian mystery system, or the Kamite mystery system, they had books and thousands of volumes of books that they said if you took the hieroglyphic level and wrapped each word of all these books around the moon, it would cover the moon 10 times. You see what I'm saying? That's how much information. So it's crazy for us to think that we live in a modern time, we have these fragments that we always, so a lot of the people just got stuck in the Kemet thing now. If it's not coming from hieroglyphics, or if it's not coming from an Egyptian face, they think it's not African, or they think it's not Kamite. Meanwhile, the white boy is up and running because he understands that all of that stuff was translated in to different disciplines. Now, this is the other aspect. A foreign person could not come into a country and translate anything if they didn't know the language and they didn't know the actual principles. So, just about everything that is translated out of Kemet was translated by the Egyptian priests. I'll give you an example. There's a group called the Alexandria. They put out some Alexandria books in the early 90s. They had a whole these conferences these white people had called the Alexandrian conferences. And they had these books 1 through 7, these volumes, like these manuals that came from the conference. And in one of the books, they had also done research. And what they had found out was that the Temple of Isis, the Temple of Dendera, which is the later Greco-Roman temples, especially the Ptolemy temples, Temple of Aset at Philae, the Temple of Dendera, Temple of Esna, Temple of Komombo, and all these particular temples, leading from the Temple of Dendera, which they literally, and I know this from Gerald Massey, they literally had a hieroglyphic wall. In one of the walls, they had this hieroglyphic piece of papyri in the wall. And they took it out and they gave them the dimensions and the blueprint for the Temple of Dendera. So basically what they did was there was an older temple that was corroding. So basically what they did was that they took the papyrus, they gave the dimension and blueprint for that particular temple, and they just made a complete temple identical to the next one. So in so many words, the stone might be a newer stone, physical stone, but the hieroglyphic inscriptions and the walls and everything is over 90,000 years old. And this started as one of the bases of the actual temple, of the other Ptolemy temples. So a lot of those temples were built from older temples. But for 100 years, well, let's put it this way, for close to 200 years, what they did, the Egyptian priests, they translated Metanetta into Coptic, which is later day Egyptian, Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and Arabic. That's what they did for 100 years. They translated Metanetta into the existing languages of those latter cultures. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, it was the Egyptian priests and the Kamite priests that translated these things, and they didn't get lost. So as a result, when the Moors went out of Kemet, because this whole thing is no mystery. What happened was even before Muhammad died, they invaded the last invasion of Egypt. And those particular Egyptian priests, you see what I'm saying, had a pilgrimage because they knew that they would have to go up into Europe, because this was a big question on why they had to do it. Well, they had a 5,000-year papyrus knowing they was going to go into slavery. We talked about this over and over in my lectures and stuff in the Hermetica by Walter Scott. This new one, The Way of Hermes, it just was translated in 99 and 2000 by Clement Solomon, and there's several other people, about 4 or 5 authors and stuff. They knew that they were going to go into slavery. Now, so they started with the Moors, the people who, so in so many words, the priesthood that was there at the time when the invasion of Muhammad basically took this particular information on up into Europe. You know the whole story. The key here is that was a part of the grand design, to try to understand that we were going into a form of slavery. They knew it 5,000 years before. We were losing memory. They knew that when they started building the stuff on the temple walls. Because we asked this question, and I think I said it the last time. Why is it we don't see these elaborate temples and monuments in the rest of Africa as we see in Kemet, in this one corner of the continent? You see what I'm saying? That is because we used to walk around with detailed files. Now I know this because basically that's been my life for the last 15 years. You know, there's no real mystery. If I see it in the book once, I put it in this computer and I never forget it. And that's how I'm able to talk. So when you see these pieces of paper, these are nothing but little notes or something, little notes to suggest what to go into. So I have this, and this. But basically, I'm going into a computer that I have compiled information with detailed files. But this was the average African mind. If I can do this now, can you imagine what they used to do? So they had these detailed files. Everybody was born with detailed files. You can find that in books, Cosmic Memory by Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner, Cosmic Memory. His other book, Universe, Earth, and Man, Rudolf Steiner. Spiritual Hierarchies, Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner's a very interesting character because when I had a meeting with Richard King in Atlanta a couple of years ago, we both was talking about that a lot of the stuff you really want to get into some real prehistory of the earth. Now, Elijah Muhammad used to mention, so we did all kinds of things when we were gods. And you want to get into some of that stuff. Get into Rudolf Steiner because the Rosicrucians became some of the custodians of some of the information left behind by the Moors. And as a result, he usurped a lot of that information. And so a lot of this prehistory of the earth and stuff, Rudolf Steiner works, deal with that if you can get past that German scholarship. You know, Germans are real rigid. You know, but spiritual hierarchies, universe, earth, and man, and especially the one Cosmic Memory. Cosmic Memory. So we had these detailed files in our mind. And basically, we started losing memory. So we had to build monuments to record those things in what we do, that we used to have detailed files. And you get a remnant of the detailed file when you see the African griot. You understand what I'm saying? Different things like that. So basically, these large monuments and all of this papyrus was used to put in the world so that the European, which would come to power, because it said it in the Hermetic text, which would come to power. There's a book called The Cave of the Ancients that the Tibetans had, that they knew the day that the European was going to invade. And they had a prophecy that was 3,000 years. And 3,000 years to that day, the cracker rolled into town. It's in the book, The Cave of the Ancients. And they're reminiscing now, because this was in the 1800s. And they were reminiscing by the time the British got there. And they had a 3,000-year prophecy that he would come. Well, the Egyptians at the time had the same prophecy. You see what I'm saying? So we started losing memory, so the large monuments was to record that. And the Moors, you see what I'm saying, under the banner of Islam. You see what I'm saying? Don't get that wrong. Don't confuse it. Because this would later on happen again in the modern world. They could go into Islamic or Christianity or something the same as a person could go into the Democrat or the Republican Party. You see, they can use it as a party to put forth their agenda. These were Canaanite priests that used the level of Islam because Muhammad had made it a conquering instrument. You see what I'm saying? So they could use this to go in and conquer these lands to put this particular stuff in these citadels in Europe, the 16 universities. And some people saying, but why? Some people, we had these big discussions about 12, 13 years ago. Well, if the Moors didn't do this, we would be all right. No, they had to do this because they had a prophecy knowing that, number one, we were going to go into slavery. Number two, the average African was going to lose the memory. We can say that right now because you can go to the continent right now. And they might know their grandparents' history, but they don't know ancient primordial history. You know, we had a big, you know, argument with some brothers in 92 that we was trying to tell them all this Camite and primordial history, and they were getting upset with us because they said, how dare you tell me about my history, and you motherfuckers over here. And the brother who brought us was this African. He said, I'm so embarrassed. He said, they think you talking about their grandparents, and you all are talking about ancient primordial history. You see what I'm saying? That has been lost. So they feel appalled for you, a nigga in the ghetto, telling them about their about history. And they think you talking about their grandparents. And you're not talking about no 100, 200 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? So we know that we were going to lose this particular information. The whole African mindset had a form of amnesia. And then we had, just based on deterioration. Then we also had colonization, slavery, and what have you. You see that it even drove it even more with people giving you indoctrinations with their religions. So they knew that they had to go up into Europe, spend those 700 years, and give them all of these particular texts, because look what the motherfucker did with the damn knowledge. Like I said, they knew, like I said, the Bible is fundamentally a moralistic book, not for Africans, but for the Europeans. Look what he did with the moralistic book. Can you imagine if he didn't have no moral code at all? We would have been lunch a long time ago. Hell, we lunch now, but you know what I'm saying? So they had to have a moralistic book, which is only dealing with the social behavior of the ancient Africans, or the ancient indigenous people around the world, made into a philosophical form for them to follow. You see what I'm saying? So they had to bring a certain amount of text and use a certain amount of text and leave those texts behind. So when we came out of our amnesia, we can now utilize these texts. So now don't be getting mad because white folks is writing all this stuff. They were only custodians for us. So I get a lot of black people over the years, we get so emotional. Because right now, with all the stuff I know about this cracker, he ain't shit. I don't hate white folks. Why? Because when you hate something, it's the difference between hating something and understanding something. I don't hate a dog for being a fucking dog. It's a dog. You see? So I'm not confused to understand that this is a different species. You understand what I'm saying? And like the Hermetic text saying, the Egyptians say, our biggest problem is we learn how to make another man. Yeah. Now that's Hermetica. You see what I'm saying? So the point I'm trying to make here is, so don't be fooled by it, because you got a lot of Moors and a lot of niggas thinking that in actuality they can prove to the white man that they're Moors, the white man will honor that. You must be out your fucking mind. The cracker know you more. He know you Egyptian. He know you shit that you don't even know you are. So don't think for 1 minute he's going to honor it because you just woke up. You see, he's already known when they wake up and stuff, that's your true enemy. He's not a subject anymore. He's the person that knows. And that's when they really go to war. I know I had to deal with these crackers in the occult world. You see what I'm saying? There wasn't in no South. The hillbilly motherfucker gave me what I needed. The Jethro Bodine cracker in the South. Hey, how you doing? And they gave me all the secrets. When I went up to New York, it's a whole nother story. Because they know. See what I'm saying? So they used to see us coming. The whole store would stop. You see what I'm saying? So don't be fooled to think, because we asked the Native American about some damn treaties. Yeah, right. You must be out your fucking mind. You know, but my point here is, this is when you get confused. This is the difference. I can analyze them and I can function ahead of them and ultimately defeat them because I understand them. It's the difference between hating. You understand what I'm saying? Because what happens is, I've seen some of these brothers, when they hate, they get locked down, so they don't want to read a book that's white. Because they are hating on the white person. They don't know the white man was just only the custodian of the information. And it says it in the Ethiopian book of Enoch. In that particular one, they said, going to come a time, they said, these people will write lies about you. Then they said there will come a time in history, late in history, when the truth will come out, and it will be the same people that will be writing this truth. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater and misconstrue this as being the enemy. They are writing for you because they said that there's a spirit world that intercedes and give them these transmissions. Now they might think that they're doing them for themselves or do good by themselves, but it's actually for us. You understand what I'm saying? But you got some people, oh, I don't want to read nothing white. Well, what? You wait on a nigga to get something? You know what I'm saying? You be waiting a million years. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to understand and look at a bigger picture of this thing. Now, I did 2 tapes on the human artificial, and we have ample evidence of the creation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pour libations, but when it's rolling, it's rolling. This white man came on the TV at PBS before Christmas. So they got something that's going on here. Before Christmas. Now hold that thought, because I want to get into this thing. I want to see something, because it's fitting. I see some feathers up in here, because I want you to know what's going down with all of this thing that's going on with this. We know that the current situation in Iraq, that Dick Gregory also said it at the Slave Theater right after 9/11. And a couple of things. The Queen of Elizabeth declared war on Islam. You understand what I'm saying? They declared war on Islam. Now, they're not declaring war on a savage Arab that they put in power. It's about the oil. There ain't no damn oil. Who do you think own the oil? Who do you think own those refineries over there? You know your history. The Americans and the British built the damn refineries. So that's just their annex. They don't. The Arab don't own no fucking refineries and no oil. You understand what I'm saying? When they built the refineries and stuff over there, they owned the doggone oil. So let's get out of this thing here. The oil company was manned by the United States and Britain, and the Illuminati or what you have. You see what I'm saying? When they doggone engineered the damn thing. So don't be fooled by that. You see what I'm saying? But they declared war on Islam not because of the Islam of Muhammad. They declared war as they have been doing since 1492, when so-called Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Explain what this is. When they said they declared war on Islam, they declared war on the Moors. That's what this shit is about.
Come on with it, man.
You see what I'm saying? Now, the Moor just means Lord of the earth, so that means they scoop up all you niggas into the same shit. You see, or they give you these words to document this. Get on People of the Secret. Come on. By, what's my mind name, man? I've been talking about this book for years. People of the Secret. Damn. No, it's something Wilson or Williams or something. It's called People of the Secret That Come to Me. They document this. But also, what describes a person, place, and thing? A noun. What is an adjective?
Describes
It is, right, it describes a what?
a noun.
A noun. Anyway, the word Sufi, or Suf, it means woolly-haired ones. So the word Sufi is actually describing the Moor. Okay, now look at this. You've been scared of this shit for years. All right? But this is how I like to say. Or like Malcolm say, beat them down with some scholarship. Put it on their ass, like Dr. Ben used to say. Put it in their face.
All right.
All right then. All right then. Show you what they are fighting against. You've been scared of this right here. Now I got one right here. Stuff people look at this and say, oh Lord, this nigga there, yells and shit. You know, so I got one right here. All right, put it in evidence. Here's a book by Idris Shah. You heard of this guy before?
Yeah.
Let me spell that shit, because you know me. Just from the goddamn Mullins, you liable to get some cornbread sound out of this shit. Idris. Shah, S-H-A-H. Now, I want to read something to you. First of all, the Baphomet was put in place. This was an emblem that was made that was let's put it this way. It's an ancient symbol. We trace it all the way back to Osiris and Amun-Ra, and later on Pan, and as well as Dionysus. But they reactivated it, or they reinstalled it in Europe by the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar is a group that was set up by the Moors. See what I'm saying? Now, in this book, this is how research goes. You see, this is the beautiful part about research. You see what I'm saying? In this book, introduction by Robert Graves, who did Greek myths and Hebrew myths, one that the Jews make sure that they keep it out of print. It's the Hebrew myth shit, which is John Henry Clark, one of his favorite books. It tells you what the devil is in there, and which is actually melanin. I'll go into that particular part also too. You talk against yourself when you scared of your diabos, a doppelganger. You see what I'm saying? The devil. Soot, arms, Soot Anubis, Set Anubis. You see what I'm saying? We'll go into that. It says right here, introduction by Robert Graves, this is page 255. And in this book they go into the completed man. The completed man is called no more, the complete man. Because they're called immigrant humans. They're called the aberrant man in the book. People of the secret, an aberrant man, which means abnormal, unusual, unnatural. In the book, because they said that the Sufis in Spain, this is what it says in the book, People of the Secret. It will come to me in a minute what that guy's name is. People of the Secret, a blue book. I've been talking about this shit for 12 years. It'll come to me as People of the Secret. And in that book, it says that the Sufis in Spain, so that means what? Moors in Spain's job was to make a non-aberrant man. So they were up in Spain using forms of alchemy, which is the studies of melanin in the universe, and the precious stones, to make a non-aberrant man. You see, aberrant means unusual, unnatural. You see what I'm saying? Abnormal. So they were trying to make this is in the book, People of the Secret. You understand what I'm saying? And he's given this thing on what they were trying to do for the 700 years. They were trying to clean up some type of shit that they did in ancient priesthoods of some type of gene splicing. You see what I'm saying? So now, their fathers were the Moors, the woolly-haired ones. And their symbol that the Knights Templars used to carry around was this Baphomet, represented the complete man, the non-aberrant man. You see what I'm saying? The Moor. Now this is where it gets interesting here. It says now follow me. Y'all all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay now. It says it means the completed man, the black head, the Negro head, the Turk's head. Now, this is what's going on. They decided to have a war against Islam. It's nothing but a symbolic or ritualistic war against the Moorish energy. And you are at the head of it. That's why you on the orange alert. And look at the goddamn colors on that alert thing at the airports and understand the colors of the chakras. Then you understand that's a ritual going on and you at the head of it, and they done failed twice to make you into mass murderers and terrorists when that shit didn't hold with the Muhammad guy. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And other things, but they trying hard to find something to make you into terrorists. And that's what that whole shit was about. You really want to know what it was about? It was to try to establish a form of black terrorism. And so that whole thing that went down with the snipers was a part of that. Right. Understand the bigger picture of this shit. Because ultimately they got to lock you down, which they can't do. Because we running this motherfucker, and they're running around this motherfucker. We run it. We don't know that we've been in control. We're in control now. It's just we still sleeping. You see what I'm saying? And we fail to recognize our magic because we still trying to be like him. Now we don't go into this. Now just hold on 1 minute. And I'm gonna break this shit down to you right now. It says the Turks had. Now you know about HARP, which is the weather modification. They got all kinds of shit like this. What's the name declared that the axis of evil? He said the axis of evil that he's going to fight against, Bush, under the behest of England, the Prime Minister, Tony Blair, and the Queen. That's all that shit is all one family. And all the Illuminati and all the shit the white boys talking about, that's just a new name for white supremacy. You thinking we are the world and you holding hands with them? No, that's white supremacy that got out of hand by 1990 and started turning against the cracker, and he had to speak out against it. So the word Illuminati and these particular words come out, which was a part of those particular secret societies, but they don't realize that was the same white supremacy that's been kicking us in the ass all the time. Know this. You don't have no solidarity with these crackers coming up here with all this against American people and all. No, fuck that. It's white supremacy, and you at the head of it. You're the only thing smoking now. You know what I'm saying? Now, so that's just a new fucking name. Tavistock, Skull and Bones, Illuminati. Yeah, these are old societies, but they're coming up with that, but it's still white supremacy. What was that motherfucker called in 1940s? See what I'm saying? The same Ku Klux Klan, the sons and daughters of the Confederacy, Chase Manhattan, goddamn it, it's the same shit. See what I'm saying? Don't be fooled by this thing. The eugenics society, all of that. This is a family fight against them. Because some of them ain't included. And that's what Bill Cooper said. Motherfucker, I wasn't Bill Cooper who wrote some of the modern books. You know, you had your other stuff. Robert Anton Wilson was writing it in the 70s in novel form. Gary Allen, Non-Alcoholic Conspiracy, 1969. Your other boy, who wrote the book Illuminoids, Neil Wilberforce, 1978. Then when what's-the-name popularized it, Bill Cooper in 1990, he said, hell, I wouldn't be mad with it, but they didn't include me. See, some of these crackers don't give a shit about you. They just ain't included in the 5,000 that they got on the earth. They got 5,000 elite, and they just mad because they ain't included. Because if they was included, you see what I'm saying? They wouldn't be telling you shit. So you see what I'm saying? So don't line up with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all be running this stuff to the crackers and I'm thinking, oh, you know, it's against the American people. You know what I'm saying? Well, what the fuck was I when you was kicking me in the ass overtly? Because we still get kicked in the behind. Alright? So remember now, this is a new form of white supremacy. So don't draw no lines with no crackers and stuff now. You see what I'm saying? Plus it's therapeutic. You're going to have to stand up on your fucking own. Because it's therapeutic. Psychologically. We got to learn to do for self and stand up on our fucking own. So it's therapeutic spiritually. You understand what I'm saying? We ain't no fuck that. We ain't including nothing but ourselves. We got enough problem with goddamn niggas. You know what I'm saying? We got 99.9% of Negroes that's dead. You know what I'm saying? So no, we ain't got no allies. You better be real on this shit. You see? Because when the energy start lining up, and I'm going to tell you, I done been to the other side. That dark side, that realm is coming, and I'm telling you, them crackers are not there. No matter how much they fool you with all that shit, the metaphysical thing, they ain't on that realm. You see what I'm saying? You see? Now, you need to understand, we'll go into this thing, we're not just dealing with stuff now where questions can't be answered, but got to understand what's going on here, and you got to read between the lines. They say the Moorish head and the Turk head. Right? So that means that the Turk is a black man. Now look at the axis of evil. They had Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, some parts of Turkey, India, or whatever. Now, they started it with the Turks. They had an earthquake in Turkey about 2 years ago, remember? 2000, first 2001. That's Islamic. They had one in India But part of India is Islamic. Then they just had one in Iran. They're producing these earthquakes because they got the technology to produce these earthquakes. And that's a form of warfare with them. You see what I'm saying? But they're following a trail of the Moor, a certain energy of a people who taught them. They're turning against their teachers. You understand what I'm saying? Now when the Kammites came out of Kemet, their first capital where they came and translated more texts was where? Baghdad. Didn't they tell you that in the movie, in the history of Islam that especially came on? Baghdad was one of the capitals where they translated some of this stuff to go up into Europe. Turkey, Iran, you see what I'm saying? Syria. Now you get this thing. They're turning against, it's a ritual. And ultimately they just cutting, they're just going up the tree until they get to you. You understand what I'm saying? They can't get to you now, and you don't know it. And so they're just going on and beating around on the trails where you've been. They following your path because they mad. They can't get to you because it's not in them dead niggas out there that you care about. Fuck them. You bring up your energy worrying about a nigga getting shot or them big motherfuckers getting discriminated against. Why? Because it's a decoy factor in the spirit world. They set them out there to catch hell so you can get some goddamn brains and some smarts. There had to be a priesthood established on this realm. So they knew that they had to have some people exempt from the bullshit. So they said, give up the rest of them dead ass niggas out there and let them get fucked in the ass while you get some smarts. You understand how this thing goes? Because it has to be a priesthood.